What are some? Why the fuck do you know that facts you have? It takes about 240 leeches to kill the average human, and about 500 to drain them completely. There are 10 different classifications of necrophilia ranging in intensity, legality, and destructiveness. Edit. For all the people asking how/why I know this, back in high school I was messing with a friend by arguing that there are certain circumstances in which necrophilia is morally/legally permissible, and I needed to do a quick bit of preliminary research to support my stance. I'm not actually pro corpse fucking, I was just playing devil's advocate to rile my friend up. It worked. Male anglerfishes bite females to mate. They basically latch onto the much larger female and their bodies kinda fuse. Male loses some organs. Since he solely depends on the female now, he isn't even a separate fish anymore. The male gets nutrients from her, and she gets access to sperm whenever she wants. There was a NASA-backed study in the 60s that tried to teach dolphins how to speak. There was one adolescent dolphin named Peter who at times got so horny they weren't able to continue the experiments. So at first they'd transfer him to the female tank and they'd go at it, but it was so much work, so one scientist, a lady named Margaret Howlett, was like, okay, this is too much work, just jerk Peter off and get on with the experiments and study. So she gave him hand jobs. She was also dedicated to it so much that she set up a bed in the center and slept there and had her office. The study also involved injecting dolphins with LSD somewhere in there. Then somehow it got out that Lovett was jerking off a dolphin and ended up in a Hustler magazine in an exaggerated dramatized story. Shortly after this, and for obvious reasons, the study was discontinued. Peter was then put in an isolated tank, and as dolphins are social animals he got depressed, although some people think it was also partly due to him missing Margaret, and so Peter committed suicide by going to the bottom of his tank and not going up for air. I learned about this after I learned a SNL skit was based on these real events.
There's a ring of blood vessels in your brain to ensure that if one carotid artery is obstructed, you don't immediately die. Headlocks usually make a person go unconscious or die because both arteries are compressed so that blood is prevented from reaching the brain. Throttling, though occurring in a similar region of the neck, usually causes respiratory distress or death because the hyoid bone is broken and a person's airway is collapsed so that they suffocate. Also, there's a few spots on the neck where the body senses blood pressure for regulation purposes. If those spots are rubbed in the right manner, the body can be tricked into thinking the blood pressure is many times higher than it actually is and will start compensating by drastically lowering blood pressure. This can cause shock and a whole host of other problems, so only doctors and medical professionals should do this. The average human has 126,000 calories. A human would have to run 35 miles per hour to get cut in half at the midsection by a cheese wire. Snoop Dogg has a personal blunt roller who makes $50K a year. The average IQ of a caveman is 70. Just outside of the sun's crust is where it's the hottest.
When Mao visited the USSR for the first time, Stalin commissioned a special toilet to harvest his poop.